On the other stuff, but yes. First, before you told me that, it was like.
So this part out here is white. So all the colors added together.
This all overlapped. He's kidding me.
All the colors added together make white. So all of the other tables here are about ways that colors, where you have white light, you take away some of the colors and you're left with things like your favorite color. So when you see lights up in the ceiling or a nice sunny day and you're like, I wish that was purple, because purple is my favorite color, the purple is there. You just have to figure out how to get rid of the other colors. Alright, so this guy in size and everything. So if we set it up so that the maxima of the black wave line up with the maximum of the red wave, we get a really large resulting wave. Alright. So but if we set them perfectly out of phase, it goes to 0. You know, it's just a flat line. Which, in terms of light, if we have this, it's going to be a bright light. If we have that, you're not going to have any light at all. So we can use a tool called the diffraction grating, which looks like this, just a lot smaller, and that spreads the light out and can allow a light wave to interfere essentially with another copy of itself. So if we shoot like just a red laser, obviously the light's just a point. We can throw a grating in front of it, and it splits it, because you only see points wherever the red light and the other red light have exactly the same maximum. And if we look at it in different colors, we can see that blue points, you know, this point, they're all together because that's directly coming through the grating. And then the blue points, green points, and then red points happen in that spectrum because blue is a shorter wavelength. And so the interference is going to pull it to a shorter. All light is coming out in front except with the black. So if I pull this out, and like green light goes through.
Excellent. Good for you.
Thank you.
More taxpayer dollars not wasted. Cool.
Amazing.
What's the B going to turn into?
And then Jared has a cool demo over here of doing it with sound waves, and you can actually find points where the sound waves cancel out and it's quiet, and places that they add together and it's loud.
All right. So this.
Okay. It's going for a world record here.
Oh! It's not even spots where it's quiet.
We're not letting the yellow through.
Like side to side or just like...
Yeah, or even just walk back and forth. You hear anything if you walk this way?
It gets quieter this way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, other than hearing it more this year versus that year.
Right. Do you hear where it gets higher and then lower, and then higher and then lower as you walk?
So that you're not hearing it on both of them.
Yeah, it also helps if you point these out that way, probably.
So if I block 2 of them.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm blocking
The
green.
loud points are where the waves are constructively interfering with each other, and the quiet points are where they're destructively interfering with each other.
Okay. So this is a sound analogy of the light, or it's the same thing that was happening with the diffraction grating in the light.
Does the same thing
is happening with the sound.
anything that has waves?
This is true. Yeah. You can get interference with any type of wave.
Ocean waves. Duh.
Ocean waves, right?
I was trying
Sound
to think of another
waves,
example, and that's the obvious one.
electromagnetic waves, light. It's an example. Yeah.
Blue stripe here. Taking this out.
There, if you want, you can listen in on this one.
What do you notice about the bubbles?
That the widths you consider.
So you can see there are bands, right?
Yeah.
reflection, and they get thinner as they get towards the bottom. So why might that be?
Well, yeah, but like they also can get blown over.
I was at the talk, so that's cheating.
So you were at the talk. So what do you think's going on?
This is the gravity, so it's
Yeah. So
pulling it down.
the soap's getting pulled down,
Oh.
and it gets thicker towards the bottom. And because it gets thicker, you can fit more wavelengths of light within that thickness of the soap bubble. So if you look here, you can see the same sort of interference pattern between these two blocks.
Yeah, it's just like.
So if you look closely, you can see there are little lines here. And also if you look at this, you can see that there are rings. So this is called Newton's rings, and you can actually adjust the position of the interference pattern by changing those knobs. And so, in the same way that the soap bubble creates this interference pattern by the light reflected off the front surface and the back surface, here you're getting an interference pattern formed between the light reflected from this surface and the bottom of the glass. And you can tell just by moving this around that there's a little bit of air in between these two blocks. And that little separation is what creates this interference. So these are an actual application of all of this, where this is just a glass slide that's been coated with a material with a certain thickness. And so the thickness of that layer is what determines the color.
I'm
So
gonna
you
come
can
back
see.
to this again.
All right.
It's okay, you can keep explaining.
So you can see that when you put it on a black surface, it looks green. And this one looks blue. And that one looks red. But when you put it on a white surface, they change color.
Cool, huh?
And so these are actually colored because of that structure of the film itself, rather than a pigment. And so with the pigment, you would see that this shouldn't change color. The other thing you can do is if you look at the ceiling, you can see what color is being reflected by the slide. So this is a green one, and you can see that it's reflected.
Yeah, she's been neglecting her station.
Yeah, my fault.
Thank you.
I'll have to get you a new battery there.
Yeah, so this is, I don't know if you saw the presentation.
Yeah, I did.
So the station is basically demonstrating what he's talking about, the difference between pigmented color and scattered color. So these two things are an example of like a pigmented color. This is called Lapis Lazuli. And at one point this was worth more than gold because it was very rare and it was one of the few places things that could provide a blue pigment. And so yeah, it was worth a lot of money. And another example of a pigment is a robin's egg. The pigment is called biliverdin, and that basically these two colors absorb wavelengths in the red, orange, yellow spectrum and reflect the blue. Well, structural colors just scatter blue light back at your perspective. You're the viewer. And that's why sunsets are orange and red, because when you have a low angle of incidence, like so the sun is setting, the blue light gets scattered back into the atmosphere, or into space, and the red and orange comes through to create a beautiful sunset. So these eggs basically imitate that effect. So if you look directly down on top of the egg, you'll see orange and red because the particles in the egg aren't scattering those wavelengths, but they're scattering all the blue wavelengths away from your eye. And that's why the sky is blue as well, is because the intensity of scattered light is related to the inverse of the wavelength. So the shorter the wavelength, the brighter the intensity. And so blue wavelengths are shorter, so they're much more intense than the red and orange wavelengths that have been scattered by particles in the atmosphere.
Would you like to take some peacock
feather? No.
A free, you're turning down the free peacock feather?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because
This is just an example in the nature of structural color. So there's no pigment involved. It's colorful just merely because of its structure. Yeah. So there's some microscope image to show that there's periodic crystal structure inside the feather, just like these models.
Yeah, actually, I think the peacock feather are the two-dimensional ones. Yes, yeah. They're kind of like raw, different layer formations of those.
Yeah, and there's a blue jay feather, which is also structural. Color. Yeah.
And that's a special structural color in the sense that it's not iridescent.
Yeah.
It's just like eye color is not iridescent. That has a where these are that's called an isotropic structure because it's uniform in every direction. So if you look at these are not uniform in every direction. You can picture an angle where you see a different structure from one angle than the other. Okay, like the structure here looks different than the structure that way.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and that gives you the iridescent effect.
Just like the gemstone.
Yep, like the opal is iridescent. So that has a what they call a photonic crystal that is periodic in nature. In fact, I think it's I can't remember if it's an inverse structure like this or one like that. But
so the blue jay feather would be something like this.
no, the blue jay feather is actually something like this.
Oh.
I made this, by the way.
Gorgeous.
Thank you. This is my daughter, by the way. And actually, Jing has been working on. We actually tried to mix two different size spheres together with a little bit of carbon black in it, and by varying the carbon black concentration, you can get different colors from the same thin film. We didn't quite master the process, but it's close.
Okay. Yeah, so if there's no carbon black, it's more blue color.
Yeah, it's kind of
and
bluish.
you add a little carbon black, so it becomes green.
Kind of greenish. And not a lot either. Just a little tiny amount is all it takes to shift the color from blue to greenish.
So if it's iridescent, it's like something like this where it changes based on your eye
It's
angle, or the way that you're...
Yeah, because it's a periodic structure.
Whereas non-iridescent is basically, it's just
Right.
whatever.
It's like a jumble of structures. It kind of looks the same no matter what direction you're looking at it.
Okay.
And it kind of makes sense if you think about it.
Yeah, it does.
Well, we get to make a button here. You got to make a button.
You gotta make a button.
Yeah.
I don't think these will survive my backpack.
We'll work on it. It's okay.
Okay, so the demo here is we've got this type of paint, and in the bottle it's looking blue.
Pigmented paint.
Yes.
Whoa, some spoilers.
Well, no, it's just one.
And on the paper it looks blue. It doesn't show up very well because it's kind of watered down, but
Bluish.
yeah, you can see that. But this paint right here in the bottle, it's looking white. But once I put it on the black background, it looks like a lovely blue color.
That's pretty cool.
And that's because this is a structural paint and this is a pigmented paint. So
you can see that
this,
one.
They take that into art class and like blow everyone's mind.
so this is like composed of similar structures to this thing. So
Stuff flying everywhere.
this thing. So
Is it iridescent or non-iridescent?
Yeah.
it is iridescent.
Yeah.
You can see that pretty well when you put it on white because all the other light is reflected back, but then you can see with the changing angle.
Pick up a little blue there. But just like those
I would
filters,
love to actually paint with that.
just like those filters didn't really look, didn't reflect anything.
Yeah.
Because it was on a white background, that's what's happening there too. Yeah. You can see the structural blue paint on green, and then the pigmented paint is right there. The pigmented paint is just blue, covers up the green, but the structural blue,
You can still see the
both
green.
coming through.
right, because the green background's reflecting green with the blue, it's kind of muted. Yeah.
And you can make a button by painting
Yep.
a lovely blue butterfly, like the ones you'll see over there.
I
Some of the structural paints.
I would suggest dots work well, because when they dry, they look purplish. If you get it too thin, you can't see.
Yeah.
Yeah, just set those in. There you go.
Thank you. Whoa, whoa, too much.
There you go.
One of the little kids grabbed the extra bottle like sideways and started opening it, and I was like, oh.
I tell you, you got to watch those little guys.
It's like, we're keeping that there behind the sign now.
They are.
Well, we have some pretty butterflies. They call the blue morpho butterflies. They have this nice blue color on one side of them, but then it's brown on the other side. So this is a structural color, this blue color. And this is actually a magnified image of what the surface of the wing looks like. So they have these structures on there, and then we have a physical model of the structure. And this is an example of like a multi-layer film where we can get interference of light as it comes down. We'll scatter off these little guys. And then based on the distance between them, if the wavelength matches that, you can get constructive interference. And in this case, that makes that nice little blue color.
Is there any structural color in like other colors other than blue and green, like red
Well,
or yellow?
yes.
Yep.
Oh, there's
Exactly.
yellow.
Yep. Remember
Well, this
your
Is that pigment?
that's a pigment.
your peacock feathers?
Oh.
Do what you left over here.
Oh, I did.
Okay, all those are structural colors. The dark brown, the purple, the greens. Okay,
I mean, there's no red, but
You can make red.
you can get red. Yeah.
But yeah, this
That's
is an example of pigment.
Is that-
We can shine light on it, it's yellow. We can shine light to the other side, it's still yellow. This one, it's blue on one side, but if you shine it to the other, it's brown. And we can change this color. So it's blue right now. So in this model, you have the solid material, which I think is called chitin.
Yep. Chitin.
And then air. So it's normally air. So right now it's air. So those are the two different materials. They have a different index of refraction. The index of refraction is what's going to determine the color. And so if we replace the air with something else that has a different index, we can make the color change. And so we have some alcohol. If we put a little bit of alcohol in the wing, we can get it to change. Just one little drop. This should make it turn green. It's helpful.
Yeah.
Wait.
That's it. There you go.
So now it's green color.
Nice. So, did you have a question?
No, I don't know. Does the same thing happen in like water, or if it's in like a different level of the atmosphere, or? I mean, assuming you bring a butterfly like up to the.
Well, what's happening is the mechanism that's making that green is that the air in here is being displaced by something else with a different index of refraction.
Okay.
So if you displace the air with practically anything, the color is going to change.
What about water?
It would change with water as well. Yeah. Now remember over there on the other table, we were talking. He showed you the filters.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Oh, because light goes through water.
Those were multi-layer thin films, just as these are.
Okay.
So those are man-made. These are natural. Okay, so that's why we had that table over there with the filters to demonstrate this. And then if you look at this, you see that these are actually long ridges. And those act like the diffraction grating. Okay, that's why we had the diffraction grating over there, because that effect, in conjunction with this effect, also in conjunction with light scattering, and the absorbed colors are going into the brown background, and that all those things work to give you just the blue. Okay.
Two different kinds of butterfly here. So we start with the little guy. So unlike the butterfly over there, so this little guy has a two-layer structure. So the base layer is photonic material like you have already seen over there. with the plastic balls. And the upper layer is has a pillar-like structure. So when light incidents and it will be diffract, and then you will see the green color. And that's why you see the green color in the middle. And for the large guy here, the structure gets more complicated. So for that one, the base layer, also this one, the base layer of the wing is flat. And for this one, it has a little bow shape like. So this is kind of the cross area of its wing. And on the top layer, there are some monolayer structure, which looks like the thin film interference over there. So the reflection of the bow shape will give you a blue color, and the thin film interference will give you a yellow color in the middle. But this is a microscopic picture, and when we see the butterfly, when you see yellow in the middle and blue on the side, what we see is green.
Yeah, it is cool.
Check this out, there's a cool butterfly.
And here comes our beetles. So we have one here and one here. So on their surface, there are different layers, just like these different layers here. So when you change when you look at a different angle, the color will change. And for these two big guys here, so their surface has 3 different layers. The base layer is just a hard shell to protect its body, and the middle layer has a lot of holes in it. And the top layer is one thin layer of wax to mostly keep the water away. But if the environment is very wet, there's a lot of water in the environment, water will be able to penetrate through these wax and fill all the holes in the middle layer, just like the butterfly wing over there. And then the middle surface just become transparent, and light would directly shine through and shine on the hard shell beneath, and the hard shell is going to absorb all the light, so it's black. So I just put a dot of water here. So if you look here, it's black.
Yeah. I think during the day it would be green because it blends in with the leaves.
Yes.
Thank you. I got myself confused. And at night, the humidity, it absorbs moisture and becomes black, so it would look dark just like everything else.
Okay.
There, I got that straight.